Hey everybody, I've been spending a lot of time, and all of us, our team here at Flourishing Workplace, thinking a lot about how we can increase and enhance workplace mental health. And hey, listen, if you need to see a clinician or if you got to speak to a therapist or psychologist, absolutely do that. But what I'm thinking about is at a macro level, at the overall level as a leader, how can I impact the environment in such a way that I create a safe environment for people to flourish and thrive? I think that is my job. And that's why, of course, we have, a whole team called Flourishing Workplace, and we help workplaces to flourish and to thrive. And so I want to share with you a couple of concepts about the fastest way, or maybe the easiest way, to get to a flourishing workplace. Because when you have a flourishing workplace, not only do you have a workplace that's positive, that's productive, that's profitable, but you have a workplace where everybody feels that going to work does not sap their mental health or drain their mental health, but it actually enhances and empowers it. I mean, how cool would that be? To create a workplace where people weren't dragging their butt in the back door because it was a toxic environment, but to create a workplace where people were showing up eager, excited, ready to go because it was a workplace that was fueling their creativity, a workplace that was fueling their energy, and that truly brought the best out of their lives. And so I want to tell you a story. I remember when I got a call from a recruiter to go work with a nonprofit, and this was a large nonprofit in the city that I live in, and this was a nonprofit that was focused primarily on homelessness, mental health, and addiction. And so I have a lot of experience in these spaces, and I worked in that zone, in that nonprofit world for many, many years, both at the frontline level and also the executive level, leading some of the largest nonprofits in our nation. And I tell you that to say that this nonprofit was in a mess. And you say, well, what do you mean a mess? Well, I mean, the work was going on. That's the most important thing. When I say the work, what I mean is they were helping the homeless, they were getting people housed, they were making sure people were fed, they were connecting them with doctors and all of that. So it wasn't that the work was the mess, but internally, when you peel back the layer of the operations, you could see that there was a very, very unhealthy workplace environment. As a matter of fact, it was so unhealthy that several leaders were seeing therapists directly due to the challenges that they were experiencing on the job. And it wasn't, again, the challenges of the work, as challenging as it is to work with vulnerable populations. It's a lot more challenging to work with people who are constantly toxic and tearing you down. And so I came into this organization, and my intention was to turn it around and to begin to change the dynamic and the tempo, not so much the tempo of the work, but the tempo of the relationships. In other words, rather than creating relationships where we're being torn down, relationships where we're being judged, relationships where we're being canceled, let's create relationships where we support one another, where we empower one another, and where we can actually begin to bring the best out of each other. And so I came in with a 3-step model, and it was very simple to me. A lot of the times people say, well, what's your plan for the first 100 days? I had a plan for the first 100 days, and here it was. It was literally to listen, and then to learn, and then to lead. I'm going to say that again. Listen, learn, lead. The very first thing I did when I came into that organization was I listened. Now, as a leader, I had a lot of experience, and I had a lot of wisdom, and I had a lot of knowledge. But when you are starting in a role of leadership and you're trying to win the hearts of people so that you can create that safe environment, the very first thing you have to do is you have to know what it is to listen. And what are you listening for? Well, you're listening for potential. You're listening for the passions of the people who work there. And you're also listening for the sense of purpose. You see, every single one of us at the micro level, at the individual level, every single one of us need to be heard. We need to feel listened to. And this was an organization that was toxic, not because the people themselves were toxic. I don't really believe in toxic people, but I do believe in toxic systems. And when I say that, I'm not saying that some people don't have toxic tendencies, but I actually think that when you see someone who has a toxic tendency, it has a lot more to do with the fact that they haven't been heard, they haven't been listened to, and they haven't been supported at the deep core of their being. And so what I started to do was to listen for potential. What are the strengths in these individuals? What are the capacities? What are the things in them that need to be celebrated? I was listening for what are you passionate about? What's the stuff that really matters to you? And I was listening for their sense of purpose. What is it in your life that gets you out of bed? What is it in your life that could get you to go the extra mile? What is that sense of purpose in you that will push you to have that full level of engagement, not from the outside in, but from the inside out? And so that's the very first thing I did. The second thing I did is I began to learn. You see, listening leads to learning. If you want to know how to change an organization, you got to start by listening, and that listening will then give you all the information that you need. I can tell people all day long what I think they should do, but what is way more effective is if I listen to them tell me what they want to do. I learn from that, and then I adapt my strategy to incorporate and to support that on a go-forward basis. Now, when you think about that, you think, okay, what do I need to learn? Well, I need to learn their strengths. I need to learn their struggles, and I need to learn their story. I need to learn about the things that make them come alive, their strengths, but I also need to learn about the things that keep them awake at night. Those are the struggles in their life. And I need to learn because every single person in an organization, be it 2 people or 200, they each have an individual story. And it's so powerful when we listen. It's so powerful when we learn, because then that takes us to the third step, and this was the step that I think really helped us to create a flourishing workplace, is then I began to lead. I believe that leadership is not so much given, but it's earned. I believe that leadership is so much more than a title or a position, but it's something that people actually allow you to take as a result of the listening and the learning that you do. In other words, if you don't listen well as a leader and you're not learning as you go, learning on the job, learning about the people, learning about the stories, then they're not going to grant you the capacity, the power, the authority to lead them. And so, here's my definition of leadership. Leadership is not, me sitting around, telling people what to do. And I can promise you, in a flourishing workplace, in a strengths-based environment, that's not what leadership is. Leadership is serving. Leadership is strengthening. And then leadership is synergizing. In other words, when I'm leading, my intention is, how can I help you? How can I support you? How can I empower you? That's the service side. And then it's the strengthening. It's, how do I get you to a place where the best of you comes out, where the best of you serves the best of the organization. And then, hey, because the workplace isn't one person, now we got to figure out, how do we put all of these pieces together? How do we synergize something that can be so powerful and that's so effective? Listen to me. Creating a flourishing workplace is absolutely something that you can do. You are an empowered leader. You are an amazing leader. I want to celebrate you here today, because leadership is tough. I'll tell you what, leadership is tough because people are fickle oftentimes. People, I'll tell you what, they're often faithless, and oftentimes people need to be, fed all kinds of things to get that performance and that productivity out of them. So I understand the challenges of leadership, and I want you to look in the mirror, leader, today, and I want you to look yourself in the eye in that mirror, and I want to speak life to you. I want to tell you, you're doing a great job, and there's incredible power in you. Don't get discouraged. Don't get down. Don't allow the negativity or the insecurity to pull you back. Just understand that you're the adult in the room. You're the one who's got the plan, and the plan is, let's build a flourishing workplace by listening, and then we're going to learn from the things that we've heard and listened to, and then we're going to lead. You've got this. And hey, if you need some support, please do check out flourishingworkplace.com. That's flourishingworkplace.com. We are 100% here for you. We are helping change the world by changing the workplace, and we sure would love to support you in that process. Hey, if this video has helped you, please give us a like, maybe a share or comment. Please do follow us, and we are so grateful for the opportunity to speak into your life. Go out there and keep on leading. Thanks, everybody.